So here's my next project. I have a Honda powered Craftsman, and I'll show you what it does. You can hear it surges. I've already cleaned the carburetor and it didn't fix it. So I bought a new one. We're going to put it on. So I purchased a new Honda carburetor. Right there. And a set of gaskets to put on it. So let's see how it runs with the new carburetor. Joining us today is my dad. Say hello, Dad.
Hi, how are you?
Okay. So, take off the air filter cover. The air filter looks pretty good. And then there are actually 4 bolts that we need to loosen. They're all 10 millimeter. Let's do that. So we've loosened the bolts. That's a long one, that's a short one, and these 2 bolts go entirely back towards the engine block and hold the carburetor on. I will add, let's turn off the fuel, that way we don't have any big mess. So now let's finish taking off the 2 long bolts that hold the carburetor on. There's 1, there's 2, and we're disconnected. Let's disconnect the air breather tube and set all of this aside. So there is our carburetor. We need to get the fuel line clamp off. Take the fuel line off. Take off the back heat plate. And we'll take off all of our linkages. Carburetor's off. So now we're going to install the new carburetor. And if you're curious, that's the part number for the carburetor. And then all of our miscellaneous gaskets. So that will focus. Let's put it on. So now I've replaced some of the gaskets, the ones that look bad. Now we'll reinstall our new carburetor. So the linkage is on. We'll put the fuel line on. line is on. And now we have to line everything back up and bolt it in. When you reassemble, you need to make sure this is your choke lever. This needs to catch on the black plastic choke lever right here to activate the choke. If you put it back together and you flip the choke and it doesn't choke, you need to go back and double check that. Okay, so the air filter housing and all the bolts, the 4 bolts we took out, 10mm, are back in. And if you look inside there, when I flip the lever, you can see the choke closing. So it's reassembled correctly. Let's finish it up and see how it sounds. So the air filter and the air filter cover are back on. Turn on the fuel. That drip down in there. There's a little bit in there. Let's see how it sounds. New carburetor, and it runs like new. So this thing vibrates kind of bad. I've checked the crankshaft and it's straight. So I suspect this blade is very, very out of balance. So let's take it off. And whenever you're doing anything underneath that involves rotating the blade, disconnect your spark plug. That way it won't start on you accidentally. So now we'll take off the blade. The bolt is a 9/16. Just that easy. So the blade I took downstairs to the grinder, put an edge on it, balanced it, and we'll throw it back on. So the blade is back on, and a helpful tip when you put it back on, the blade spins counterclockwise. So you want your edge that you just made to go that direction. If you do it the other way, it'll be upside down, it won't cut very well. So I've let this run about 5-10 minutes. Now we're going to change the oil. So with a Honda, there's no drain plug underneath. This means you have to do a side dump. I did turn off the fuel line to avoid any spillage. I'll let that sit for a little bit. Now that it's drained of oil, we'll put good fresh oil in, and Hondas take 10W30. And on a Honda, you want to fill it up to there. I'll show that later. So we've added oil to the Honda, and the way to check the level, pull the stick out, wipe it, put it in, don't screw it in, pull it out, and if that'll show, we're at the top of the X's. It probably won't focus, but we're at the top of the X's, so it's right where it needs to be. So here is our Honda Craftsman, all tuned up. It had a new spark plug and new air filter on it already, so I didn't replace those. But we gave it a new carburetor, new oil, sharp and balanced blade, and now let's see how it sounds. Shall we mow? I think so. So you could probably see in the last video, the engine was still dancing, bouncing around on the deck. So the blade was still out of balance. And what I found was it was bent. On the old blade, when I would turn it, one end of the blade would come a little bit past the lip of the deck, and the other side wouldn't. So I went out and bought a new blade. Let's see how it runs now. Much better. And if anybody wonders how I got this lawnmower, a family member gave it to me for free. So there you have it. If you have one of these Honda engines, I think it's a GCV 160, and it's revving and you tried to clean it, and if you wondered about buying a new carburetor, go for it.